Assalamu alaikum. So, I wanted to discuss what it's like being a Muslim in America right now, a revert Muslim in America right now. Because I think it's very different than it was a few years ago. Um, Islam is on the rise, alhamdulillah. And I think that for me personally, um, everybody knows that I'm Muslim. Like, it's just part of who I am. It's what I talk about. It's what I love. Um, and I have not been met with any like disillusions or hatred or anything negative. Alhamdulillah, like it's really been a very positive experience for me. It's also changed my life dramatically because I hold myself to a higher standard because I am representing Islam in everything that I do and everywhere that I go. And so I'm careful with what I say. I'm careful with how I say it. I find that my heart is more open and that I am kinder. And maybe because of that, when I share, because people ask me all the time, like they don't usually say, so did you become Muslim for your husband? Because I know that's what they're thinking. Some will say that, some don't. But when I do get to share my story, and I share it more often than you would expect, everybody is really intrigued and welcoming and excited for me and curious and so many things, whereas in the past it just would have been so incredibly negative. Now, that's not to say that there's not negativity and Islamophobia in the United States, because there definitely is. But what I can say is that with every person that I meet that doesn't know anything about Islam, after we meet and talk, their vision starts to change. Like, they may think, maybe what I heard wasn't the truth, or maybe this propaganda, like, it's real, because everybody used to think that Muslims were terrorists, and that that's all that we had, and that when we say Allahu Akbar, like, that we're trying to martyr ourselves. And the things that we've been told as a country in the United States is a little bit crazy out there. And so if you happen to believe that, I can just tell you that that's not true. The other thing that's not true, if you're not Muslim, is we don't worship a different God than Christian God or the Jewish God. Like, there's only one God. And the name Allah is simply the Arabic word for the same word. It just means God. And so I always like laugh when people ask me, like, about that and what that means. And I will tell you that there's a female politician in Georgia who absolutely has it out for Muslims. And I don't usually comment on other people's posts, and I definitely don't usually get involved politically. Um, but I sure would like to have lunch with her, just to talk to her and give her maybe some information that she doesn't have. Maybe just, she clearly doesn't know very much about Islam, but she knows a whole lot about her hatred for Islam, which is sad. But I don't think she's alone. So I sure would love to have a chance to sit with her, or have her meet any Muslim, because for those of you that are not Muslim, I can tell you that I have never met a Muslim that wasn't kind and generous and loving and truth-seeking and, like, a high moral standard and clean, hygienic, and caring about family, and all of these things that actually Americans say these are the American values. Well, Islam is practicing those every day. And so it's really joyful for me right now to be Muslim at this time in America, especially because when people see me, they don't necessarily think that I look the part, talk the part. My skin is white and my hair is blonde, and that's not what they're expecting. But Islam is on the rise. It's the fastest growing religion Alhamdulillah. And I think that it's just because people are finally finding their truth. And so if you're out there seeking truth, I encourage you to find yours. I'm not suggesting that it should be Islam, but I'm saying that if you're not completely 100,000% sure what you believe, I encourage you to find your truth and do some research, and find out what your truth is, because that is how I found Islam. Was somebody told me, you don't know the answers to the religious questions that are fundamental, and you should know what you believe in. And if you don't, then you need to find your truth, because it is a big deal. These days in the United States and in the world, it's hard times. And you really can't rely on this dunya. You can't rely on people. They're just going to disappoint you. And you can't really rely on the world because it's falling apart. The only thing that you can rely on is God, is Allah. Because from Him you come, and to Him you will return. So those are my thoughts for today. I'm so grateful for everything that I have learned as a Muslim. And, the journey's I'm a few years in, but it's still just begun. So here's to the next chapter, my next life. Super excited that my new job is going to support the fact that I'm Muslim. That's a big deal for me, and I'm excited. So have a great day.